Blue Jays are seeking a sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals here this afternoon. Lefty Matthew Liberatore for the Cardinals, and St. Louis native and Cardinals fan as a kid, Max Scherzer, is on the mound for the Blue Jays. So look at the lineup for the visitors, and their very talented rookie J.J. Weatherholt is not in the lineup today, getting a day off. Alec Burleson has had a good series, 3 for 7 with a double and a couple of walks, but the Cardinals are averaging just 3 runs per game over their last 15. And they are really struggling. They have lost 12 of their last 15 games, just a single run in each of the first 2 games of this series.
Well, Scherzer coming off an emotional start in Washington, where he spent the prime years of his career, enjoyed his first World Series there as a National, but could not get out of the 3rd inning. Threw 75 pitches, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, just not a lot of swing and miss. Came out, I think the adrenaline was flying, the velocity was pretty good early, but then it started to dip. And we'll see if he's got that same adrenaline early here against his childhood team.
Lars Nootbaar is going to lead it off for the Cardinals. He's in right field, a .235 hitter on the season. And underway with a fastball that misses inside for ball 1. Nootbaar, Jordan Walker, and Alec Burleson, top third of the order for the Cardinals, who are 54 and 57 on the season. They have fallen to 4 games out in the National League wild card race. And as we've talked about, this was always thought of as a building developmental kind of year for them, but they are playing their worst baseball of the season right now, fallen behind a number of teams. And it is expected that by 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, the Cardinals will have traded a few guys, and Nootbaar could be one of them. Max Scherzer, as mentioned, from St. Louis, grew up a Cardinals fan, went to the University of Missouri. Never pitched for the Cardinals, has pitched very well against them in his career, as that slider overslid and winds up way inside 2-2.
Overcooked that one a little bit. Yanking that glove side inside to Nootbaar.
You know, Max is the furthest thing from a kid, obviously, but I think pitching against the Cardinals, and who knows what his future holds beyond today. I'm sure even by Scherzer standards, maybe that heart rate's beating a little quicker today.
Sure, 16th career start against the Cardinals, but I think it's more about where Max is in his career. We know the trade deadline is looming, but it's more about turning 42 years old recently.
The 2-2 again, and he got him. He strikes out Nootbaar to begin the ball game.
Well, Max will mix and match, especially against those left-handers, but he gets Nootbaar to chase up high.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order in the Subway app using the code STRIKEOUT. Now Jordan Walker, the All-Star. 3 for 9 in the series, all 3 hits singles. Scherzer dialing up some pretty consistent 94s here in the early going with the fastball. Good slider there, and it's 0-2.
This will be his 2 biggest weapons against the righties, the 4-seamer and that slider right there, and we've seen Walker chasing a bit in this series. See if Max doesn't try to get him to expand again.
Getting the sign from Kirk, way out in front of Walker, 0-2. Fastball up, and Walker got a piece of it. This is the biggest power threat in the Cardinals lineup, 22 home runs and 79 RBIs, among the leaders in the National League in that category. Check the swing on a slider in a good spot. Both guys did their job well right there, pitcher and hitter.
Perfectly executed. You're trying to get him to chase. When you're ahead 0-2, you can get it out there, and now if he does it again, maybe not so much out there.
The 1-2. Ground ball to third. Ernie Clement is over there today. away. The throw to Okamoto, who's at first, 2 down.
Perfectly executed by Max, down and away. Defensively for John Schneider's club today. George Springer making his second start in left field of the season. Varsho is in center. Miles Straw gets the start in right. Ernie Clement over at third base. Vladdy's DHing, so Okamoto across the diamond at first. Jimenez and Urias get the nods up the middle. Now Alejandro Kirk behind the plate this afternoon.
2 down. Here's Alec Burleson. He's had a good series. 3 for 7, a double, a couple of walks. Fastball in a good spot, and it's 0-1. One of these guys, when he raises his arms high above his head, watch his back elbow, that left elbow. It's just a timing mechanism.
Who's that remind you of?
Little Joe Morgan from way
Yes.
back in the day. Yeah, the Hall of Famer. Not quite as pronounced as Morgan did it, but just a little bit of that.
And that could be for a variety of reasons for Burleson. Maybe it's a reminder for him to keep his hands up to a certain point where then he wants to initiate a move. When you see things like that, it probably means something to that individual, but whatever he's been doing, it's working.
Yeah, he's had a very productive season, a very good start post All-Star break. 1-2 pitch on the way, and it's lashed foul. And Scherzer tried to bury a slider down and in. So last start, Max pitching against the team where he had his longest tenure and his greatest success, the Washington Nationals. And now today against his childhood team, if you will. And again, he's been doing this a long time. As you said, 16 starts against them. Nothing new, but still maybe something a little bit different for him. That is there. Strike 3 call. A very nice start here this afternoon for 42-year-old Max Scherzer. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of Ks.
Sportsnet.
To the bottom of the first, and here's the Blue Jay line this afternoon. And as we mentioned off the top of the show, George Springer is hot, and he is also in left field. Just the second time this year he makes a start in the outfield. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the DH, so guys have moved around a little bit. Okamoto's at first, Clements at third, Varsho and Jimenez, 2 left-handed bats in there at the bottom of the order with a lefty on the mound for the Cardinals.
Matthew Liberatore is now 26 years old, 6'4" out on that mound. He was a first-round pick of the Rays back in 2018, traded to the Cardinals in a deal that sent Randy Arozarena the other way. Parts of 5 seasons in the big leagues. He's 5-8. The ERA is over 5 this season in his 21 starts. He became a regular starting pitcher last year for the Cardinals, but it has not gone smoothly this year. Gave up 3 runs on 8 hits last time out against the Cubs, and his fastball, Blue Jays hit fastballs very well. It's been touched up this year, so we'll see if they don't try to zone him in on the heater.
By far his best results with the curveball and the slider. Starts with a fastball, and he misses up high ball 1 to Luis Urias, who is leading off for the 2nd game in a row. Urias has had a very nice weekend. You'll remember the pinch hit 2-run single Friday night. That was the difference in the ball game. And then yesterday he went 1 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Drove in a run in that game as well. One and one the count. And a broken bat. Foul off a shattered bat. That bat is all over the place.
That's the changeup from Liberatore, and Urias got it right off the end of the bat. And when you cue it off the end, that's what can happen. Splices and dices into several pieces.
Got a new one, and a 1-2 count on him now from Liberatore. Bumped back a day in the rotation with Matthews making his major league debut yesterday. In the dirt, 2-2.
Four-seam fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup for the most part against the right-handers. He'll sink it a little bit, very occasional cutter as well. Averaging just over 94 with that heater.
The appeal down to first. He went around, says Stu Sherwater. Went after that curveball that wound up down below the zone, and Urias strikes out.
A little too far. I think Stu Sherwater got it right down there at first. Urias did not agree, but I would say most times as a hitter, you went further than you think. If you could only have replay down on the field.
Now Vladimir Guerrero Jr. DHing, hitting in the 2 spot. See how he does against a lefty here today. His OPS is 801 against lefties, 704 overall. Had a couple of hits in 5 at-bats yesterday, both of them singles. 1-1.
Locating that sinker right on the outside edge. Sinker also being more of a runner. That ball's going away from a right-handed batter. He's trying to get it off of his barrel.
And now chased a changeup off the corner, 1-2.
It will be a long day for Blue Jays hitters if they're expanding their zone against this guy. They got to get him on the plate, and they got to get his fastball on the plate. That's what they'll be able to do damage against.
Two and two. Swing decisions or chase rate, however you want to phrase it, when this team has really struggled offensively, often that has been the reason. Swings through it. 96 from Liberatore to strike him out.
Well, defensively for Ollie Marmal's club this afternoon, the Cardinals have Brian Torres in left field. First start of the series for him. Nathan Church back out in center, and Lars Nootbaar, who's in left the first couple of games. He slides over to right. Blaze Jordan and Mason Wynn on the left side. Jose Fermin gets the start at second base with Weatherholt off. Burleson at first, and Ivan Herrera, who DH'd the first 2 games, is behind the plate.
Kazuma Okamoto hitting in the 3 spot again. Looks at strike 1 from Liberatore. Okamoto 1 for 8 in the series. Had an RBI double on Friday night, and he just got completely fooled by a curveball.
It is a big breaker from Liberatore, but I don't think Okamoto saw this at all. It's almost like he's thinking of a pitch and you just swing, but once he started, he couldn't stop. Nowhere close.
And then the high fastball taken for ball 1. Well, he certainly has planted some seeds in the minds of Blue Jay hitters early with the big breaking balls, the fastball up, the changeup away. Okamoto obviously picked up the curve a little bit better there. Did not offer at it. 2-2.
That is a big curveball.
Yeah.
A lot of downward movement.
Laced foul. Still 2-2.
Right-handed hitters have only hit .216 against that curveball, but they have hit 4 home runs. So if he does hang it or leave it in the zone, this is the type of guy who can take advantage.
But as you can see, and we've talked about it a lot this year, Okamoto has been far better against fastballs than anything else. Strike 3 called. 96 at the knees, and Matthew Liberatore just struck out the side.
Dare to expect more from your oven. Frigidaire.
As mentioned, Max Scherzer is from the St. Louis area, Chesterfield, Missouri to be exact, a suburb of St. Louis. Grew up a Cardinals fan. Went to the University of Missouri, which is in Columbia, just a couple of hours away from St. Louis. And actually, Joe was drafted out of high school by the Cardinals. But in the 43rd round, a round that doesn't even exist anymore, he decided to try to improve his lot in college, and I would say he did. He came out a first-rounder out of Mizzou and has turned himself, of course, into a first-ballot Hall of Famer. So kind of cool that he starts here today against the St. Louis Cardinals all these years later. And he's done it before, as you said, but his career numbers against the Cardinals, not these guys, but maybe he gets a little fired up pitching against the hometown team. He's got really good numbers against them.
I would think so. It's human nature, and you're pitching against your childhood team, maybe a little extra. We saw that in the first inning, had the good fastball again, like we saw in Washington. We'll see how long he can maintain that.
3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts, top one. And here's Ivan Herrera, who DH'd the first couple of games. He's catching today as he takes inside for ball 1. A dozen homers on the year, 46 driven in. Ground ball to short. Backs up Jimenez, and he'll intentionally skip it across to Okamoto, 1 down.
Well, Andres Jimenez is very smooth at shortstop, and the first thing he does is back up on this baseball. So he actually backs up onto the turf, but then the intentional one-hop toss. But the more important thing, make sure you give your first baseman a nice little hop. Okamoto handles it, no problem. That's a long throw if you don't one-hop it. So if you're going to do it in the air, you've got to really get your feet involved and get your arm behind it. That's the easier way.
Here's Mason Wynn, the shortstop. Up to the 5 spot today. Hit 6 the first couple of days, but again, Weatherholt's not in. Nootbaar's moved up, so the lineup a little bit thinner on paper for the Cardinals this afternoon. In the air to right field. And caught by Straw, 2 down. So a strikeout note on Max Scherzer, because heading into his last start, as far as I know, publicly available information was that he was 2 behind Walter Johnson for 10th all time on the strikeout list with 3,509. And Max entered today at 3,507. But it was communicated to us by the Blue Jays today that they consulted with Major League Baseball and the Elias Sport Bureau, which is the official statistician of MLB, and that apparently there is some discrepancy, but the official number that we are being given for Walter Johnson is 3,515. That is not what you'll find on Baseball Reference or some other common sites, but if MLB and Elias say it's so, then it's so. So Max Scherzer, who has 2 today, some people may have been saying, well, hey, that's 3,509. He just tied Walter Johnson for 10th. Apparently he has not. Listen, this is over a century ago when Walter Johnson was striking guys out. But the number we have been told to go with, according to MLB, is 3,515. So Max is still 6 away from tying Walter Johnson for 10th all time.
And that changes things. We thought we might be seeing another milestone in Max's Hall of Fame career here this afternoon. We still might.
1-2 the count on Brian Torres, the left fielder. And a ground ball to second. Urias makes the play. And Max Scherzer is off to a very nice start. 6 up, 6 down.
It's on Sportsnet 360 or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, the first question I asked Kevin Gausman after his start here yesterday was, what were you able to do to keep the day as normal as possible? And Gausman, as straightforward and honest as always, shook his head and said, not a whole lot. It was one of those days for Kevin Gausman. He was feeling the pressure of that potentially being his final start in a Blue Jays uniform here at Rogers Center. He said it was impossible to keep those thoughts out of his mind until he was actually on the mound throwing pitches and focusing on executing them, but then he had to walk off the mound to a standing ovation, an emotional moment that sent Gausman straight to the dugout tunnel to collect himself. Now, as for what will happen in the coming days, Gausman said, without revealing specifics, that he's had conversations with the Blue Jays front office and he's been appreciative of their candor. Now, we can all read between those lines. It's very likely Gausman is going to be traded, but he said that if that happens, he hopes Blue Jays fans remember him as someone who considered himself always a Blue Jay.
I don't think there's any fear of Blue Jay fans not remembering Kevin Gausman favorably, very favorably, whether yesterday was his last start as a Blue Jay or not. it'll all become clear in the next 28 hours. 6 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow is the trade deadline. A number of Blue Jays could be traded. This guy in your screen right now, George Springer, is a free agent at the end of the year. The difference for George, as he sends a high drive to center, back goes Church, but he's got room, is that Springer has no trade protection by virtue of being a 10-5 guy. They can't trade him unless he approves the deal. Gausman has partial no trade, 8 teams on his list. But there could be 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. We don't know. And listen, 48 hours ago, they were 5.5 out. Now they're 3.5 out. In your mind, Joe, does that change the calculations at all?
I mean, for me, it does. I'm not sure front offices work that way. And even having George Springer out in left field begs the question, is that a bit of a showcase? I'm not in that camp. I think he's out in left field because it was a day to DH Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The first time he played left field was coming right out of the All-Star break, if you recall. He was in left. Okamoto was at third and Vladdy was at first, but it was a chance to get Brandon Valenzuela's right-handed bat in the lineup against an Anthony Kay who has a lot of trouble with right-handed batters. So you can read into it all you want. Is there a need for a George Springer right-handed bat? Oh, absolutely. We've said that. There's been a dearth of that around the league all season long. So can he help a contender? Sure.
Kirk sends one up the middle, backhanded by Fermin, and Kirk's going to beat it out. An infield hit for Alejandro Kirk.
Well, J.J. Weatherholt with the day off today. Fermin in at second, but there's not much more you can do. This ball was hit way up the middle on the left side of second base. Fermin gets there, but speed kills. Alejandro digging all the way. Gets there just in time.
Here's Ernie Clement. And he'll go after the first pitch and lift a fly ball to center. Another play for Church. And out number 2. Well, there's a lot we don't know, but we can tell you there's been another trade in baseball today. Freddie Peralta, another starting pitcher, has been traded from the Mets to the Rays. So the biggest starting pitcher domino fell last night. Tarek Skubal, one of the very best, is a Dodger. And I know that annoys the absolute you-know-what out of so many people that the Dodgers have gone out and done it again. But they traded 3 prospects. Their 5th, 7th, and 17th ranked prospects, according to MLB Pipeline, to the Tigers to get Tarek Skubal, and a great team becomes even greater. Luis Castillo late yesterday went from the Mariners to the White Sox, and out today Freddie Peralta has gone from the Mets to the Rays. I kind of sort of thought Milwaukee might go get Skubal, because if you're Milwaukee, you're great this year. You've got a great farm system. And you know if you don't get him, probably the Dodgers will. So not only do the Brewers not get him, but the Dodgers can.
Those smaller market teams, they just must feel that that's their lifeblood, their farm system. That's what they're built around. That's what they need for the future. So to give that up for a 2-month rental, I'd be the first one to agree with you and say, because this is your year, you're a great team. But it doesn't seem like they operate in that manner. They're just going to keep churning them out and be a good team again next year. But then how do you take that next step if you're not taking those chances? And I think for teams that are going to have success, you have to take some chances.
Here's some of the recent trades. Again, the big one is Tarek Skubal going from the Tigers to the Dodgers. The Tigers got back a very talented outfield prospect and then a couple of pitchers as well. Luis Castillo to the White Sox. The Mariners had 6 starters. Sir Anthony Dominguez going the other way to bolster the Mariners' pen, former Blue Jay. I think it was Arden who said on the pregame show today with Ben and Shai, in the last 31 hours before the deadline last year, there were 50 trades consummated. So it's going to get very busy tonight.
And we thought the Skubal deal, once it happened, that the starting pitching thing would get rolling. So I'm sure it will.
And some starting pitchers have been traded, and we've talked about Gausman, obviously, but there are other guys. Robbie Ray could get traded. The Angels, even though Soriano and Detmers have a couple of years beyond this year, they're good starting pitchers, and teams clamoring for controllable starting pitching, a very difficult thing to go get. Dustin May of the Cardinals is a guy everybody is expecting to get dealt. Kirk on the move again, and the 3-2 fouled off again by Straw. And the 3-2 one more time is fouled off one more time by Straw. So Kirk legged down an infield hit. Now he's gone to second 3 times in a row as he makes his way back to the bag at first. Straw, who had a double in 4 trips yesterday, trying to get something going here, bottom 2.
Pretty soon Kirk's going to tell Straw that I have to catch after this.
Yeah.
Put the ball in play, please.
There goes Kirk again, and Straw with a fly ball down the right field line. Nootbaar coming over, and he's got room for out number 3. End of 2, and still no score.
Replica statue.
It's Junior J's Sunday here at the Rogers Center, and there's a little bit of extra energy here at the ballpark. There is something for all the kids, no matter where you go in the Rogers Center. Games, activations, and right now I'm here in the WestJet flight deck, taking in all of the Lego, plus there's face painting, caricature artists, and so much more. Now the kids are getting to enjoy the Lego, while the parents are getting to enjoy the great game that's happening right now. Now there's only a few more Junior J's Sundays left in the calendar, so make sure you come on out and join us on the next one. Now, Dan, I'm going to take in part with some Lego here. What about yourself?
Love Lego. Little busy right now, but love Lego. Lego has stood the test of time.
Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely. But when you and I were kids, you just go get like a big box with 1,000 pieces, and you would build whatever you wanted.
Build a tower, right?
But now it's a.
Oh my goodness!
It's a specific thing,
yes.
and you're following. I actually find it a little bit more stressful. You're following instructions, and if you miss one step, you got to go back and dismantle the whole thing and get it right.
You're sounding like you're still playing with Lego.
Well,
Dan.
no, I have a 7-year-old.
So you're still playing with Lego.
I'm still playing with Lego. Yeah.
Getting very creative.
Yeah. Down to third, tricky hop. Clements got it. You know, it's funny, like as a 5-year-old, he probably needed me to help him. Like as a 7-year-old.
Get out of my way.
Yeah, he's like, Dad, I got this. He's better at it than I am now. 7 in a row set down by Max Scherzer. And here's Nathan Church, the center fielder. 3 for 8 in the series, 227 on the season. Little up and in, ball 1. And that one, just a little bit of run on it. It looked like off the outside corner as he falls behind 2-0.
Max has that lower arm slot, so a 4-seam fastball can have some run on it as well.
3-0. So he's tried 3 fastballs, 1 up and in, 1 away, 1 down here against Church. And ball 4, the first base runner for the Cardinals today. And Scherzer's been navigating lineups long enough to know you don't want to let one of the guys down near the bottom of the order on with a free pass. The real danger lies up top, but he has walked the number 8 hitter with a 1 out here this inning. And now we'll face the third baseman, Blaze Jordan. Ironed out that command issue with a fastball out in front 0-1.
And he needs to be in the zone with that fastball, because if he's in the zone, then his secondary pitches can work, especially that slider to the righties.
A long hold to try to freeze the base runner, and it's fouled off 0-2.
That's a good pitch right there too. And I'm talking about the first pitch fastball setting up the slider potentially, but what they did is they went back inside See the setup from Kirk, and watch where the pitch goes. Perfectly hitting that target on the inner edge of the plate, tying the hitter up. Now you can do whatever you want. You can elevate, you can go back in, you use that slider away a couple times if you want.
Tried the slider, ball one.
So many pitchers will tell you fastball command is paramount because everything will work off of that. If you can't throw your fastball for strikes, they can eliminate that, they can sit soft, and then you've got to flip them in there.
Got him. Boy, a good changeup for his third strikeout of the afternoon.
Not necessarily something Max does a lot of with his slider against righties, but when you throw that changeup, certainly not something they're looking for. Way out front, looks like a fastball.
Two down in the inning and back around to the top of the order for Lars Nootbaar. And a curveball for a strike as Scherzer's mixing it up on these Cardinals hitters. This is an extremely young St. Louis team. Kind of fun to see a 42-year-old out there against 23, 24, 25-year-olds.
And we felt that way yesterday with Gausman and his veteran Savvy, more of a two-pitch pitcher, but thought he could really handle a young lineup. Max is doing a good job early on here against the young lineup. The professor is leading right now.
Church the lead. Two down and a couple of strikes on Nootbaar. Line down the left field line. It is a fair ball. Springer over to get it. Racing around third is Church, and he will come in to score the first run of the ball game.
Changeup away. There's that changeup grip again. It's out on the outer edge, but Nootbaar does a nice job not just getting to that ball, but hitting it hard, slicing it, just keeping it fair into that corner. And the relay home was just a little bit tardy. Jimenez's throw kind of spiked in the ground a little bit, but I think the runner's in there anyway.
And the first hit for the Cardinals produces the first run of the ball game. And now here's Jordan Walker. They're grounded out in the first. The 0-1. Line drive right field. Back is Straw, and he reaches up and makes the catch. 1-0 Cardinals going bottom three.
Open, presented by Rogers.
Don't forget after the game, keep it on Sportsnet for part 4 of the Blue Jays Way. This is the team going for its second consecutive World Series championship, all about 1993. Right after the ball game here on Sportsnet. Let's check in with Art.
Well, thank you, Dan. You know, if it feels like the Blue Jays have trouble with the kitchen sink pitch to contact types like Matthew Liberatore, there might be something behind that belief. Here's how the Blue Jays rank in terms of OPS against power, average, and finesse pitchers. You see that 28th rank of all 30 MLB teams against finesse types. Liberatore falls into that category. Baseball Reference essentially uses a 7-season window and then separates all pitchers into power pitchers, who are those in the top third of the league in strikeouts and walks. Average pitchers are in the middle, and then finesse pitchers are in the bottom third of the league in strikeouts and walks. So you can think about the guys who use 4 or 5 different pitches, move them around the zone, try to mix and match to keep hitters off balance and get weak contact outs on balls in play. Those are the types that the Blue Jays have had the least success against.
Interesting. Thank you, Arden. Liberatore, one of those guys, although his velocity's up a little bit today from his season averages so far. Dalton Varsho, the batter. A couple of lefties at the bottom of the lineup for the Blue Jays. Varsho hitting 8th, Jimenez hitting 9th. And Liberatore out in front 0-2 on the Blue Jays center fielder. Another guy who I imagine, Joe, woke up today wondering if this would be his final day as a Blue Jay, a free agent at the end of the year.
Anytime a player is on an expiring contract, those are the targets. Now it's what do opposing teams see in Varsho? How can he help them? The deal has to be right, I am sure, if you're on the Blue Jay side. They're in a funny situation because the odds tell you getting to the postseason is going to be a very difficult task. But if you're not getting the right return, and that goes for the others we discussed as well with Gausman, Springer, whoever it is. Do you stand pat of sorts in some areas? Maybe a Varsho's a guy that does go somewhere, but Gausman doesn't. Springer doesn't. Maybe there's a market. Maybe there's a market for Max Scherzer after this game.
Fouled off again. Still 2-2. I know Ben Shai and Arden are going to be busy over the next 24 hours, and I'll be refreshing my phone, looking at their feeds often. Shane Bieber, another guy, who knows? 2-2 again. And Varsho working a good AB here. It's full.
Well, you mentioned the two left-handed hitters at the bottom of the lineup, and lefties have handled Liberatore this season, not necessarily in his career, but getting back to those different categories, he's used the slider a little bit more to the righties than normal today. So it does tell you the finesse is getting him.
But then he rears back and fires in a fastball at 96 to strike him out. Fourth strikeout of the ball game already for Liberatore, and now he'll face Jimenez hitting in the 9 spot, batting .231 on the season. Catches the inside corner, 0-1.
Liberatore has given up 5 home runs to lefties on that slider, and that's where you just wonder if you're a Jimenez. We've seen him take shots on occasion. He's not necessarily a guy that's going to hit a lot of home runs, but when he takes a shot, he can. Do you just take an at-bat against a Liberatore and say, I'm going to go look that slider? He got a first pitch, but he wasn't looking for it.
Now at 2 strikes, just got to.
Yeah, you got to battle, sure, but I mean, going into an at-bat, you're already at a disadvantage if you're Jimenez against a left-handed pitcher.
Liberatore was their opening day starter this year, but has not had a great year overall. Brings an ERA of 5.26 into the game. Popped back foul. And a ball driven to center field. There was the slider, and he was all over it, but Church runs it down.
Well, it's a very good swing with 2 strikes. Maybe he's just thinking soft, and you can see it if he blows a fastball by you, but he was really on this pitch. This looked like an 0-0 pitch that he went up there looking for a slider. Very good swing at any point, but especially with 2 strikes.
2 down and back around to the top of the order for Luis Urias, who struck out in the first. Just the 1 hit one time through the order for the Blue Jays. The infield hit from Alejandro Kirk in the second. Two and 0. And Liberatore didn't like the feel of that baseball on the changeup. Asked for a new one. Fouled off, 2-1.
Another slider, lots of them to these righties. We've talked a lot this year about how the Blue Jays have hit the fastball a lot more than breaking pitches, and we've also seen a lot of opposing pitchers and pitching staffs pitch them accordingly.
Doesn't take long for word to get around. Swings through a high fastball, 2-2. And a ground ball stays fair up the third baseline. And the play made by Jordan as Liberatore sets down the Blue Jays in order, and the Cardinals still lead 1-0.
Now head to BlueJays.com/5050 from participating provinces before time runs out. Dan?
Thank you. Got to get that over 2 million by the time runs out, and I think they will. 1-0 Cardinals, top 4 here in the final game of this series. The Blue Jays looking for just their 3rd sweep this season. They swept the A's to begin the season, started the year 3-0, and then they swept the Red Sox in Boston in the middle of June. If they win today, it would be a 4-game winning streak overall, and that would match their longest of the season. They did it twice in May. Alec Burleson pops one up, foul, third base side. Ernie Clements got room.
Such a good sequence right there against the left-handed batter. He gets ahead with that first pitch changeup, and then he tries to come in and up with that fastball, and it ties up. Pretty good hitter.
He has looked good today. Even the changeup that was hit, the only hit he's given up, the RBI double, was right on the outside part of the plate. Maybe he would have liked it a couple of inches lower, but still a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, 0-2. I'm sure he wanted it off the plate, but you're not expecting that to get lined into the left field corner.
Drops a slider in for a strike to Ivan Herrera. And then jammed him, but this one will find the seats. 0-2.
I mean, that four-seam fastball looks like a sinker, the way it's running in on his hands. But again, it's just that low arm angle that Max has. Gets that horizontal movement into a right-handed batter.
Threw 75 pitches his last time out against the Nationals. The Nationals are a much better offensive team than the Cardinals this year. Max went 2 2/3, gave up 4 hits, 3 walks. But he also struck out 4, and he only allowed 1 run. But he had to throw a lot of pitches. They fouled off so many of his pitches. Ground ball to third. Clement to his left for out number 2. Much more efficient today in the strike zone. Looked like Ernie's maybe a little bothered that that throw was a little bit low, but he got help on the other end from Okamoto.
We saw a low throw from Ernie earlier where he short hopped Okamoto over at that first base bag, and you just wonder how much he's thinking about this. Moves his feet, gloves it cleanly, but you can see that throw, he kind of just flips it as opposed to really finishing through his first baseman. Well, it's got a lot of tail on it instead of driving it to his chest.
2 down for Scherzer here, top 4, and this is Mason Wynn, who hit a fly ball to right in the second. Hit high, ball 1. If you haven't been following the standings much in recent days, the Blue Jays actually have made up 2 games in the last 2 days in the wild card race. They were 5.5 out a couple of days ago. They're 3.5 out now, but they still have 6 teams to pass. Again, overall, the math is not in their favor. It's a little bit better than it was a couple of days ago, that's for sure. But still so many teams ahead of them. Minnesota and Cleveland, both who lost last night, they share the final wild card spot right now. 2-2 on Wynn. John Schneider's thought process remains the same. Go 1-0 today. Strike 3 call. Scherzer having a nice afternoon. 4 innings, just 1 run allowed, and this is his 4th strikeout of the day. Players have arrived here in Canada. Tune into the National Bank Open presented by Rogers tonight, only on Sportsnet. Dealing with the elements a little bit, I would imagine, here today in Toronto. Hopefully it is cleared up by tonight. Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading off the bottom of the 4th. He went after it. Foul tipped it into the mitt of Herrera. Vladdy struck out in the 1st. Liberatore struck out the side in the 1st. Pulls it foul, and it's 0-2.
Liberatore not dissimilar to what we saw yesterday in the Major League debut of Quinn Matthews in terms of that fastball. It's up in the zone. He'll bury the curveball and the slider down, and in, but use that changeup away. But all of the fastballs are up in the zone.
Ooh, and a good challenge coming here from Guerrero.
Batter challenging the pitch.
This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers. And that's a strike.
Call's confirmed. Toronto has 1 left.
Blue Jays down to 1, and that's strikeout number 5 for Liberatore.
Breaking balls down, and in, both the curveball and the slider, and he put this one in a perfect spot.
Both of those breaking balls move a lot. Now Kazuma Okamoto goes after the first pitch, lifts a fly ball to shallow left. The catch is made by Torres, and just like that, 2 down. Blue Jays unable to get anything going against Liberatore. They've just got the 1 hit, an infield hit by Alejandro Kirk. Here's George Springer. Hit a fly ball to center back in the 2nd. As you can see, has really heated up the last couple of weeks. Driving in runs too. 14 RBIs in his last 14 games. Getting those hits with men on base.
Well, he's had some big ones. His RBI single put the Blue Jays up 1-0 yesterday, but that big double in the 7th made that lead 3-1. And anytime you can add on late like that, it's huge. And then, of course, Alejandro Kirk with a 2-run hit after that.
Boy, another slider for a called strike. 1-2.
It's hard to look fastball against Liberatore because they're all kind of in the top end part of the zone for the most part. So do you sit on the breakers and get one of them that's down?
Well, he has shown himself to be very comfortable throwing all of his pitches too. As Arden talked about, he's kind of a kitchen sink kind of guy, but the stuff's playing up today. He's thrown well. The velocity's up. The slider's been nasty. In and out of the glove of Herrera, so Springer's still up there.
Again, fastball up top, trying to come in, but most of them are going to be up there.
Even though that's not your fault as a catcher, do you feel like you let your pitcher down when that happens?
You don't feel like you let him down. You just wish you would have caught it. But yes, not a whole lot of skill involved there.
Looked like he went around, and he did. So Springer strikes out, and Liberatore continues to dominate the Blue Jays.
Park Social taking in all the Blue Jays, Junior Jays fun here on a Sunday. There's lots for the entire family. There's games happening for the kids, a Muskoka chair too for mom and dad to sit back and enjoy the game while they're watching. And of course, great snacks like churros and shaved ice. Now, being up here just behind me was exactly where Kazuma Okamoto's 5th deck homer was earlier this season, and it really puts into perspective how far it actually was. Now, all the kids are getting excited to run the bases a little bit later, and Dan, I'm going to tell you something. I might try to get down there myself.
All the best. We wish you all the best. Joe and I will be right here.
You know where to find us.
1-0 Cardinals, top 5. What have you thought of Max Scherzer so far today?
This is as good as we've seen him in a long time, and I think the way he's strutting around that mound right now, he is pitching with a lot of confidence, and he's really using his fastball against this Cardinals team, mixing in his secondary pitches, but the fastball has been a big pitch for him today.
You know, you can't put him in the Kevin Gausman bucket, I don't think, but you do wonder. Obviously, Max is a free agent at the end of the year. We don't know what the Blue Jays' intentions are in terms of the trade deadline, but you do wonder with what he is doing today if the Blue Jays are selling to a certain extent. If another team would say, I've seen enough to contemplate plugging him into the back end of my rotation, bringing that experience and that energy into the clubhouse and just giving it a shot.
It doesn't always have to be a frontline starter. It can be somebody to solidify the back end of a rotation if you're making a postseason run.
Right. Like if you're the Dodgers, you don't go out and get a guy to help you get to the playoffs.
Right.
You're getting to the playoffs. If you're the Dodgers, you go out and get a guy like a Tarek Skubal, if you can, who's going to pitch huge games for you in the playoffs. But you know, I'm sure there are contenders who the back end of the rotation is really dicey, and maybe you try it for a couple of starts and see. You know, obviously the return would be limited. Max is 42 years old, but he has looked sharp today. If he could just, the Velcro is.
Max is one that likes to attach it to his glove. So many pitchers will see them do it to their waist around that belt buckle on their right side.
There we go.
That's taking tools of the trade to another level.
Yeah.
Can't slide it in there.
Got a little sleeve for it there.
Yeah, need a little slack in there to slide it in.
Back to business. 0-1 on Brian Torres. Ball that's out, says Jordan Baker. 1-1. Did you like when an umpire just didn't say ball, would say ball that's out?
I love that because then I could immediately say, Jordan, you got that out. I've got that on the edge. Stay with me now. That ball, and that's where the conversation and that relationship is built.
Jordan Baker's a very good umpire. He is known more for being the tallest umpire in the major leagues. I believe Jordan Baker is 6'8".
It's a big man back there.
Swing and a miss. 5 strikeouts for Scherzer.
It's exactly what I meant when I said the fastball has been a big pitch for him. Not fooling around with Brian Torres. Goes right up, climbs that ladder.
So 5 gives him 3,512 in his career. And again, after consultation, we understand with MLB and the Elias Sport Bureau, the Walter Johnson numbers are now being given as 3,515. So that would put Max 3 shy of 10th all time in a major league history. And as we talked about in his start in Washington, this is the kind of category, Joe, you get into the top 10, you might never be coming out because guys just don't throw nearly as many innings anymore as Verlander or Scherzer did. And yes, strikeouts in the game are more prominent, but still, you got to pitch a lot of innings to get 3,500 strikeouts. Drilled to deep left center field. Varsho going back, and he's going to haul it in. Jose Fermin retired, 2 down.
Slider has been good, and this one was down at the bottom of the zone. So Fermin maybe not getting all of it. Sends Varsho back, but plenty of room in center.
So 4 2/3 for Scherzer. He has allowed 1 run on 1 hit. The walk to begin the 3rd inning is the reason that run came in to score. A 2-out double by Nootbaar cashed it in. Those are the only 2 base runners given up by Scherzer, a walk and then a double in the 3rd. He retired the first 7 and he's now retired the last 6. Into right field. It'll be a base hit for Church.
Little curveball, nice job down in the zone, nice job by the hitter going down to get that. Now Church was on first base earlier after the walk, did not attempt to steal. See maybe with 2 outs if he tries something, even though it's the 9 hitter at the plate.
That number 9 hitter, Blaze Jordan, who struck out in the 3rd. Thought about it, checked the swing, and he takes it high, ball 1. Max's velocity just kind of ticking down a little bit from the start of the game. .60 pitches now. This is popped up. Jimenez at short. How about Max Scherzer? 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run allowed here today. Time for an update with Jamie Campbell.
All right, thank you so much, Dan. Here's the in-game tracker brought to you by Bet365. Let's take you to Baltimore. Brian De La Cruz with this shot to center field, a 2-run home run. They're in a rain delay right now, bottom of 3. Phillies on top, 2-0 there. The White Sox, as you know, picked up Luis Castillo in a deal. He'll be joining their team with Benintendi hitting well. His home run has Chicago out to a 3-0 lead on Tampa Bay in the 4th down at Tropicana Field. And one of the hotter teams in baseball right now, the Diamondbacks, are in Cleveland. Chase DeLauder, though, with the base hit here up the middle, has helped Cleveland to a 2-0 lead on Arizona. They're in the bottom of the 4th. There, that is the in-game tracker presented by Bet365, available in Alberta and here to stay. Download the app. Must be 18 years of age to play, and please play responsibly.
The Blue Jays, for decades on August 29th, being one of the first 15,000 fans through the gates to collect a Buck Martinez legacy bobblehead, celebrating his 3 iconic roles with the franchise. Get here early for the pregame ceremony as the Blue Jays Hall of Excellence is officially opened and honor Buck. Tickets are available at bluejays.com/promotions.
Going to be great. Buck will become the 12th member of the newly named Hall of Excellence, and deservedly so. Ground ball to 3rd. Kirk retired. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. What can the Blue Jays do to solve Matthew Liberatore?
You know, that swing right there I thought was very good from Alejandro Kirk. It looked to me like maybe now there's a little bit of an approach. You know that he's throwing a lot of those breaking pitches. Maybe go up looking for one, and Alejandro looked like he went up looking for it, but hit hard right at the 3rd baseman.
Ernie Clemenzo for 1. Flied out to center in the 2nd. He's had some success against Liberatore, coming into the game 3 for 5, including a home run. Curveball, and a good one. That is a big curveball. Reaching for it, sends it to right center. Church is there, 2 down. And Clement now 0 for 2 on the day. 64 pitches through 4 2/3. The batter now Miles Straw. Straw flied out to right in his 1 at bat. Thinking about bunting for a base hit. Takes a curveball for a strike.
That, or you might be taking a pitch to try to prolong things. 2 quick outs, and maybe you give your 42-year-old right-hander in the dugout a few extra breaths in there.
Whoops. The 1-1. Bouncer to 3rd. Jordan throws him out, and it's another 1-2-3 inning. Liberatore cruising. With the Sportsnet and City TV bundle, enjoy live sports and can't miss entertainment all in one subscription.
Bundle today at sportsnetplus.ca. This is a pitcher's duel here with the roof closed. Rainy day in Toronto. It's 1-0 Cardinals going to the top of the 6th. 1 run on 2 hits for St. Louis. No runs on 1 hit for the Blue Jays. Max Scherzer is going to start seeing the order 3rd time through as Lars Nootbaar steps in. It's Nootbaar who has driven in the only run of the ball game. And Pete Walker's making a phone call. So even though Scherzer's been really good and the pitch count is efficient, 3rd time through, and Kirk will challenge this.
Catcher's challenging the pitch.
Did it get back to the outside corner? It did.
Call's overturned. Toronto has 1 remaining.
Popped up back out of play. 1-2. Lined hard but foul. Cardinals are off to New York to take on the Yankees. After this series ends, the Yankees are the leaders in the wild card race. The Red Sox have closed within 2.5 of the Yankees. The Red Sox have beaten the Dodgers the last couple of days. Boston will go do something, don't you think?
They have to, don't they?
Yeah,
with the run that they've been on.
Like, I think it's 22-4 in their last 26 games.
Yeah, making all kinds of noise. Cedar Rafaela has caught fire.
1-2. And just outside, ball 2.
Well, that fastball has been very good for Max all day long, just missing the edge on that one.
Bouncing ball to first, backs up Okamoto. The feed to Scherzer in time.
Just misses out there with the fastball and comes back with that little slider, and you get the hitter just out front. He is really pitching, and he's had to do this for a long time now. He's not the same power guy from back in the day.
Making it work here today. Jordan Walker has grounded out and lined out. I think that's the 3rd time in as many at bats that Scherzer's got him to swing and a miss and a good slider away. And the phone call was to tell Spencer Miles, just get started. Nothing urgent yet. Just start getting loose. Takes it high, 2-1.
I think Max is being careful to keep that fastball away from damage, up and out of the zone there to a very dangerous hitter. They have held him at bay for the most part for 3 days.
Lines it to left, and it's a base hit. A curveball from Scherzer, a couple of inches off the outside corner, but boy, Walker can he could really reach the outside part of the plate.
And you'll take that against a hitter like that. That's a pretty darn good pitch from Max, just off that outside edge. Walker's able to cover it, but you get a bloop single like that. That's not a bad thing at all against a guy that can do some damage.
So 1 on, 1 out for Burleson. And off comes the helmet with the force of the swing.
Like a changeup that he left up and out over the plate, but Burleson was not getting cheated. Big hack.
Inside, 1-1. Walker's leaning, not going. And another challenge coming here from Kirk.
Challenging the pitch.
There you go.
Pitch is overturned. Corner has 1 remaining.
2 for 2 this inning. Twice this year, Max Scherzer has gotten through 6 innings. His first start of the season against the Rockies, way back on March 31st, he went 6 innings, a run on 4 hits. And then in Arizona, April 18th, 6 innings, 2 runs on 5 hits. John Schneider giving him a chance to get through 6 here today. Two-two. Hit hard and into right field. Walker had to make sure it didn't hit him. So he will stop at second. First and second, 1 out.
Well, I think this pitch was up in the zone like this by design, but Burleson was all over it. Trying to come in, trying to go up. Just 93 miles per hour. He talked about that velocity dipping a little bit, but Burleson clearly covered that one easily.
And here comes John Schneider. Miles has been up. The jog means it's a conversation. John Schneider has told us that he's going to look Max Scherzer in the eye here and have a little chat. The move has not been made yet. Who's up? Who's next? How do you feel? What do you want to do?
Remember, this happened in Washington, and Max conceded. He said, "Get to your pen. You're better off."
Doesn't look like he's conceding right now.
I don't
and
see
he's
that
talking
happening
to Kirk
this time.
Yep. Skipper's coming back.
He's looked good. He feels good. You gain the trust too of your manager when you're honest, and we saw that in Washington. He felt that he had emptied the tank, threw a bunch of pitches to the previous hitter to get through it. It was a hot night.
It's very kind of John Schneider to remind us from time to time, when I walk out, I'm making a move. When I jog out, it's for a conversation, and then we'll see what happens.
It's very kind for the play-by-play announcer.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
So that you know.
So that you don't jump the gun too early. No jumping to conclusions too early. Here's Ivan Herrera. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Walker at second, Burleson at first. The 0-1 pitch to center field, backing up a couple of steps. Varsho, he'll make the catch. Walker's tagging on his way to third and in there ahead of the throw. First and third, 2 down.
Well, you can see the runner at second base. Walker knows that Varsho is going to catch this, so he's going to tag. And I thought Ernie was interesting here. Originally, he's thinking about being at the bag, but I think he's more concerned about from the runner from first going to second, knowing he didn't have a shot at third. Good baseball IQ there by Clement.
Scherzer looking for the final out here in the 6th inning and trying to maintain this as just a 1-0 game. The batter is Mason Wynn, who has flied out and struck out. Taken a little low, ball 1. Through 75 pitches against the Nationals, he's at 80 now. You know how bad
badly Max Scherzer wants to walk off the field with the rest of his defense to get through this unscathed.
It is so important to a pitcher. They take a lot of pride in that, completing the inning that you're out there.
Fastball, and he's late on it. 1-2.
Might be empty in the tank.
Yeah,
right
that's
here.
right. Up to 94. Found a little bit extra here. The look in his eyes suggests he is fully engaged at the moment, doesn't he?
Well, that's just like us having a casual conversation with Max. He's like that all the time.
He is always fully engaged.
Such a fierce competitor.
First and third, 2 down, ahead of Wynn, 1-2. Bounces it in, blocked by Kirk, but taking second on the play is Burleson. That'll be a wild pitch. I would imagine scored a wild pitch, charged to Scherzer.
Well, it's a changeup, and I think they wanted to make sure they didn't leave this up anywhere where damage could be done. They want to make sure it's safe, but he just spiked it a little bit too much. But he's got the trust of his catcher back there.
And it is a wild pitch. 2-2. Second and third, 2 down. 1 shake, now a nod. Bounced back out toward Scherzer to first in time. Well done, Max Scherzer. 6 innings. His rotation mates love it. That is an outstanding performance by Scherzer. Who knows what's next for Max? But what a job he has done here today for the Blue Jays. Fired up into the dugout. Look at this.
You be careful high-fiving him right now.
Yeah, he might hurt somebody.
Don't use your throwing hand. That was always my rule.
I'm sure he appreciated the fact his manager left him out there and allowed him to get through the inning. That is a job well done, and then some, by Max Scherzer. And again, just look at the intensity. He's 42 years old. He's done this a million times, and it still matters just as much to him. Will he be a Blue Jay beyond today? We'll know in about 27 hours. Now the next question is, can they find some offense?
Jeez.
Trying to extend a 3-game winning streak. It'll be Varsho, Jimenez, and Urias. They have been unable to solve Matthew Liberatore. Grounded out to second. Fermin the play, 1 down. Again, the only hit, an infield hit by Alejandro Kirk in the second. I don't know if you can say Max is now relaxing, but
If that's relaxed, I'm not sure.
he'll be talking. He's got a captive audience there with Clement and Schneider. Got a little news here as the Blue Jays have just announced an acquisition. A guy you and I have been talking about off the air for a few days. The Blue Jays have acquired right-handed pitcher Jameson Taillon and cash considerations from the Chicago Cubs for a player to be named later, or cash considerations. Taillon was DFA'd by the Cubs a few days ago. Veteran major league pitcher, been around a long time, was not having a great year. 5.92 ERA this year. And you and I wondered if they did trade some of their starting pitchers, you need some guys to come in here and give them some innings. And Taillon also has pitched for Canada, the WBC. I think both of his parents are Canadian, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely a Canadian connection.
Yes, and he pitched in the 2013 and this year's WBC for Canada, and it just kind of seemed like a natural fit on a number of levels. So what this says to somebody who's on this team right now is getting traded.
That's what it feels like to me. Yes.
Now who it is we don't know, whether it's more than one we don't know, but if they are acquiring Taillon, that appears to be in anticipation of one of their existing starting pitchers getting traded.
Could be Gausman, could be Bieber, could be Scherzer.
One and one on Luis Urias. Now 1-2. And a guy who may be in his last day as a Cardinal is up in their bullpen. Hard throwing Ryan Stanek. Been with the Rays and the Marlins among others, and he's been throwing 98 for a while. Two and two.
Well, the Cardinal bullpen has been struggling since the All-Star break, and you try to get into that bullpen as quickly as you can, but the Blue Jays have not been able to do that. But once they do, maybe they can make some late noise.
One nothing St. Louis, bottom six. And again the 2-2. Up and away, it's full. Taillon, by the way, 34 years of age, was a first-round pick, second overall of the Pirates. If I'm not mistaken, a two-time cancer survivor. Has been with Pittsburgh, the Yankees, and for the last 4 years with the Cubs. Ball four.
Stream every pitch on Canada's best and most reliable 5G Plus network. Visit Rogers.com today to get connected.
Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He has struck out twice against Liberatore. Once swinging, once looking. Down and in, ball one. A little low again, 2-0. Tying run at first, go ahead run at the plate. The Blue Jays still with just one hit in the game. Fouled off out of play, 2-1. Just enough run on that two-seamer to get it to the outer part of the plate against Guerrero. Great job by Scherzer. 1 run in 6 innings today. Down and in, 3-1. What are you thinking if you're Vladdy?
Well, with what he has been doing that fastball all day, I'm looking up in the zone for a heater, or if he likes to sit soft, you can look for one of the breakers. Wasn't looking for it.
Nope. 3-2.
So if you're thinking fastball, looking fastball, you want to lay off that. If you're looking for one of those breaking balls down the zone that we've talked about most of the afternoon, that's not the swing. But if he was looking, he would have had a better swing at it. So to me, what you're looking for, you have to get it. If you don't get it, let it go. You're still ahead 3-1, and now it's 3-2. Swing and miss better than putting that ball in play, to be honest with you.
Urias will be on the move, still being held on at first by Burleson. And the pitch, and he got him. He strikes him out for the 3rd time today, and it's still 1-0 Cardinals now at the end of 6.
Wednesday, August 12th, secure your very own Blue Jays Youth Elbow Guard with the Blue Jays Youth Baseball Specialty Ticket. Come down to the ballpark and experience a day of paired with Blue Jays baseball. Learn more and find tickets at bluejays.com/specialty ticket. Dan?
Maria, thank you. The first sign of relief is brought to you by Sustain. When dry eyes are in play, look to Sustain Pro, the official dry eye reliever of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Spencer Miles on now for his 31st game of the season. That whip just over 1 walks and hits per innings pitched. He's allowed just 58 hits in his 70 innings. He has been very, very good in his first big league season. Pitched a scoreless inning on Friday night, leading to Hoffman and Varlin for the Blue Jays 3-1 victory.
The role evolving a little bit here for Spencer Miles recently. Shorter outings later in games. More of a typical higher leverage role out of the bullpen right now, it would appear, rather than a piggyback or a bulk guy, that sort of thing. And part of it may be wanting to contain the number of innings he throws this season.
I think they were always going to have to monitor and control that workload, and this is a good way to do it.
He'll face the 6, 7, 8 hitters in the Cardinals lineup. This is Brian Torres, the left fielder, who's 0 for 2. When asked about it a few days ago, John Schneider said it's possible Miles still goes more than an inning, but he thought maybe 2 would be the most, that the 3s and 4s are probably done, at least for now. Again, the pitching staff may look a lot different by tomorrow night, so we'll see how the roles shape up after that. Outside 3-1. But if they're doing this, I think they'll stick to this with him for the reasons we just gave. Very high fly ball to center. It's deep but playable. 1 down. Well, Joe, how would you like to tie a bow on Max Scherzer's outing?
Just an outstanding job. Max did such a good job with his fastball to set up the other pitches. The slider was so good to the righties, the way he located it down and away, mixed in the curveball and changeup, mixed in the curveball a little bit more too that second time through the order. He's just a veteran pitcher that really knows how to pitch. But today we saw the execution of that. That's what we hadn't seen as much of from Max. Just a great effort.
Here's Jose Fermin, the second baseman, 0 for 2. So one final Scherzer note. He struck out 5 today, so that puts him at 3,512. And 3 behind MLB's official total for Walter Johnson. I guess back in 1907, I did some Googling, and 1907 apparently is the year where things were a little bit murky. Records are what records are. You can't go back and ask anybody. So according to MLB, Johnson officially has 3,515, Max 3,512. Off the outside corner. Now the 1-2. Try to run that sinker back over the outside corner. Touching 99 there. Just missed 2-2.
Sinker is such a good pitch for him. Does such a good job inducing soft contact with the movement on his pitches.
Bouncer. Weekly hit to third. Clement's got time to make the exchange and make the throw. 2 down.
Another good example right there with that sinking fastball. Good movement. Hitter gets on top of the baseball.
Don't you think one of the more interesting offseason conversations or spring training conversations is going to be what kind of a role do they want Spencer Miles in next year?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the starting role, and I'm just not sure how many innings you can go to next year. Can you get into that 130, 140, 150 range? He would have to build up to that throughout the course of the winter, and then into spring training. You can also pair back, always pair back later on.
Ground ball to short. To his right, Jimenez. Nice pick by Okamoto. Nathan Church retired, and a nice inning for Spencer Miles. Sign up to become a Rogers customer and be a part of Canada's winning inning. When the Blue Jays get a hit this inning, you can win exclusive 50th season prizes. Visit Rogers.com today. Another sellout, 41,321. Looking for some offense from their Blue Jays. It is 1-0 going bottom 7. And I'm sure most of the Blue Jays, no disrespect to Ryan Stanek, are glad to see the last of Matthew Liberatore.
Well, they have seen plenty of Ryan Stanek in the past. He broke into the big leagues in 2017 with the Rays. He is now with his 6th team, the Cardinals, pitching in his 48th game of the season. High velocity 4-seam fastball.
Kaz Okamoto leads it off and takes it up high, ball 1.
Slider and splitter to go with that 4-seamer, but he'll throw it a lot, both to righties and lefties.
Swing and a miss, and a slider away, 1-1. Stanek will average 98 with his 4-seam fastball. The pitch he has not shown yet to Okamoto.
Look out.
That was his 2-seamer, and it was not in a good spot if you're Okamoto. Springer and Kirk coming this inning as well. Grounded right to short. Wynn has it. Throws him out. Meanwhile, what a day for Matthew Liberatore. Just 1 infield hit, 1 walk allowed. That's it.
They just could not figure out the left-hander. He had enough on his fastball at the top of the zone to complement the secondary pitches down. Both breaking balls, the curveball and the slider. Even when it looked like maybe they did sit on a pitch at a particular time, it just never could get to him.
Here's Springer. Fly ball right field. Hit pretty well. Off the wall. Nootbaar's got to get after it. Springer's on his way to third. And in there with a triple.
George goes with this pitch again, similar to what we saw yesterday with his RBI double on a fastball up and away. He gets this slider up and away and drives it off the wall in right. And that tough hop, the way Nootbaar played it, allows George to turn it into a triple.
So the tying run is at third. The infield is in, and here's Alejandro Kirk, who obviously understands the assignment. Get it in the air, get it deep enough to the outfield to try to bring in Springer. Will Stanek try to stay away from him consistently like he did on that pitch? And now Kirk's got a battle with a couple of strikes on him. Kirk asks for time. Stanek steps off.
Alejandro had the big 2-run single after George in yesterday's game to pad that lead. He needs another one right here.
Up high, ball 1. Fouled off another one. So good at waiting an extra beat, hitting the ball to the opposite field. Doesn't matter where he hit it, just get it deep enough to drive in a run.
It feels like he gets that bat in the zone, deep in the zone, so that he can foul off a pitch like that. I'm thinking if Stanek is trying to get swing and miss, you got to go with that slider down and away. You try to get him to chase, even though Alejandro, when he's right, he stays in the zone pretty well. The deeper he sees it, the longer he sees it, the better decision he can make.
Stanek ahead 1-2. No chase. It's 2-2.
Catcher set it way away too to make sure that Stanek does not leave that slider in the zone.
He has been looking more like himself the last week, 10 days. Now the 2-2, and he got him. A foul tip into the mid of Herrera for out number 2.
Dan, it's become a Tuesday tradition at the ballpark. Looney Dogs and Blue Jays baseball. Don't miss the next Looney Dogs night presented by Schneider's Tuesday, August 11th. Round up the crew and enjoy some Looney Dogs with Blue Jays baseball. Visit bluejays.com/promotion.
So Clement is the batter. Miles Straw is on deck, but you wonder if Clement were to reach, there's nobody up in the bullpen. Does John Schneider go to a Nathan Lucas or a Jesus Sanchez in this kind of a spot?
And I think maybe the meeting on the mound is more about what you do. There's Nathan Lucas right there. What you do with Ernie here. You know he loves to swing the bat early in the count. Do you start with that slider, something out of the zone to try to get him to expand?
Off 0-1. Jordan at third is even with a bag. The rest of the infielders backed up against Clement, who's 0 for 2.
He got a fastball in the zone. I'm shocked at that. To lead the at bat, Ernie couldn't get to it.
Takes it low. Stanek to set, and now the 1-1. He went around, and Jordan Baker's going to make the call himself at the plate. It's 1-2.
Ernie's asking Jordan, why don't you ask for help? Now he asked for timeout. A little too far.
Yeah, I think he went.
But as most hitters will do, just ask for help. That's
Right.
such a tough call for a home plate umpire. But he got that one right.
It is popped up back of the plate, but it appears to be playable. Herrera makes the catch, and the Springer 1-out triple is stranded here in the 7th. Still 1-0 Cardinals. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie and Madison.
All right, Dan. Hardware is proud to be the official home improvement retailer of the Toronto Blue Jays. Locally owned, genuinely Canadian. Beyond the triple, there hasn't been a whole lot of excitement, except for occasionally when John Schneider goes to visit Max Scherzer.
I would say it's a little bit less animated than when we saw John Schneider run out to Max Scherzer last year in the postseason, but still he's going out there to have a conversation. And it doesn't matter if it's October or if it's early August, you're still going to see that same level of intensity from Max Scherzer. He decides that he wants to stay in this ball game, and he's able to get them out of this without giving up another run. You see his reaction as he's walking off of the field. He even turned around and saw a little bit of a fist bump from George Springer, who was out here in left field. But all of a sudden, as soon as he made that decision to stay in there, you could hear that crowd start to rile up too. Everybody's getting energized by Max Scherzer out there on the mound.
Soon after this game ends, it's off to the 4th episode of the Blue Jays Way. We're back for the 8th after this.
These are the new smoke and honey melts at Firehouse Subs. We were founded by firefighters, so they're built right. Melty and toasty with smoke.
And it is still 1-0. The one run in this game scoring in the top of the 3rd. Spencer Miles back out to begin his 2nd inning in relief. Blaze Jordan, the number 9 hitter, is the batter. Sinker runs up and in, ball 1. One run on 4 hits for the Cardinals. No runs on 2 hits for the Blue Jays. And they just had by far their best chance in the bottom of the 7th. A 1-out triple by George Springer, Alejandro Kirk, and then Ernie Clement. And really, you think more about Kirk because that's when there was 1 out. You didn't need a hit. You needed a fly ball. And
ball in play at least.
yes. And a good contact hitter and a good clutch hitter. That's through the right side, a base hit for Jordan. But unable to execute, he strikes out, and then Clement pops up in foul territory, and they strand the runner. Top of the order now, Lars Nootbaar to face Miles. Nootbaar is 1 for 3. Doubled in the only run of the ball game way back in the 3rd. Strike one. A little chopper up the first baseline. Miles has it and calmly makes the play to get him.
Calmly making sure that he keeps that throw inside the runner. It's his only play as this ball is chopped up the first baseline. Well done.
Jordan takes second on the play. And now here's Jordan Walker, 1 for 3. Kirk wants him to step off. Well, he loves that sinker, and you can understand why. It's 98 with movement.
Such a good pitch, obviously designed to be down in the zone, but he can have a lot of success with that pitch up as well. Tough for hitters to square up no matter where it is.
In the air to shallow center. Varsho is in to make the play. 2 down.
I think that's why Spencer, for me, can be a starting pitcher. Not only does he have a few weapons, but that sinker alone as a starting pitcher, it's such a valuable pitch because a guy gets on, you're always one pitch is a ground ball away from getting 2 outs, as opposed to having like a wipeout slider. Of course, it's nice to possess that too, but a good hard moving sinker, and he gets a lot of soft contact with that pitch, is a huge weapon.
Alec Burleson is going to be intentionally walked. So it'll be first and second, 2 outs, and they will pitch to the right-hand hitting Ivan Herrera, with George Soriano now up in the Cardinals bullpen. The Blue Jays have not seen him yet in the series. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Curveball might be his second favorite pitch.
It's such I mean, he has a bunch of weapons. When you have 2 different breaking balls and then that sinker, he's also got the 4-seamer, but he's got 2 different fastballs, sinker being such a weapon. Those are starting pitcher pieces in your arsenal.
Out in front, 0-2. It's got to be so tempting, and any pitcher will tell you, given the choice, they want to at least have the shot to be a starting pitcher, and then if it doesn't work out, fine, go to the bullpen, but he'd love to get a shot. Well, that's a conversation for the offseason. Ahead of Herrera, 1-2. A little bit high, ball 2. Kirk challenging.
Runner challenging the pitch.
Had to reach across his body to get it. Did it catch the outside corner? It did. And that will retire the side here in the top of the 8th.
William Gleed on his birth certificate. He's 23. He's corner infielder. The club acquired him at the end of training for Leo Jimenez, and he has hit the third most homers in Toronto's entire minor league system. He's got an 841 OPS between high A and double A, and he is currently on an absolute tear. Today he added his 12th extra base hit in his last 21 games with a 2-run double for the Fisher Cats this afternoon. And what's really interesting about Gleed is he wasn't known for his power prior to being acquired. He hit only 2 homers last season, which was his first as a pro. But the Blue Jays have done to him as they've done to many other hitters in their system. They've taken somebody with strong bat-to-ball contact skills and added some juice. Gleed now has more homers this year than he did in 3 seasons at UC Irvine.
Arden, thank you. A guy to keep an eye on. Again, third base, first base, a little bit tricky because of Okamoto and Guerrero, but you figure that stuff out later. If you got a guy, you got a guy, and you figure out what you can do with him. Here's Nathan Lucas, who is pinch hitting for Miles Straw to begin the bottom of the 8th. And this pop-up is caught right on the backside of the mound by Blaze Jordan, out number 1 for a new pitcher in from the Cardinals bullpen, George Soriano.
George Soriano is the setup man, and he's very good against left-handed batters, and that's why Ollie Marmol has turned to him here. An outstanding changeup that left-handed hitters have just not been able to do anything with. Started Lucas off with that changeup, got him on the fastball.
1 down, Dalton Varsho, 0 for 2. Also, as an aside, Dub Gleed is an amazing name. I would love to say Dub Gleed for a few years calling games here. We'll see. It's fun tracking the farm.
Sure.
1-1.
There is that changeup just disappearing in the bottom of the zone.
Soriano was waived 3 different times by 3 different teams in the offseason. Like a team picks him up, and then they make another move, and they don't have room on the 40, and they waive him, and somebody else take, like, bounce, bounce, bounce in the offseason. Tyler Rogers, Louis Varland, both up for the Blue Jays.
Certainly found a home in the Cardinals bullpen. 50th game of the season for Soriano.
2-2. The Marlins, Orioles, and Braves all waived him in the offseason. Sometimes you read a guy's transaction line and then you see him pitch and you go, these two things don't, you know what I mean?
How does that happen?
Yeah. "3-2 and strike 3 called. Varsho strikes out, 2 down.
You see it so often where pitchers kind of find it a little bit later in their career. 27 years old now. This one just catches the top edge of the zone, but he's got an ERA of over 5 in the big leagues. Decent season with Miami in his rookie year, but after that, not a whole lot of success. Much better this year again.
2 down for Andres Jimenez. Outside. Out of play left side, and now 1-2 on Jimenez. Needs a new bat. And now the 1-2 pitch. Bounced foul right side. One more check on the 50-50 draw for J-Scare. It's getting close to 2 million. Again, tonight is the night. Get your tickets at bluejays.com/5050. to left. It'll drop for a base hit.
Boy, every once in a while, Andres Jimenez has a really nice piece of hitting. We saw him hit a fly ball deep to center field earlier today, and this one a changeup, good one from Soriano, down and away, punches it into left.
And that'll bring up Luis Urias, 0 for 2 with a walk. First to check on Jimenez, who's got a dozen steals this year. Because that changeup is so lethal against lefties, righties have hit Soriano a lot better, and that's probably the reason why Urias is still in there. No Jesus Sanchez here. Plus, I think the quality of the at-bats Urias has had in recent days has been pretty good. But again, big reverse splits for Soriano.
And an extra base hit should score Jimenez from first base.
He's running. And it gets past Herrera. Jimenez was already into his head first slide, so he can't think about third, but he'll steal second.
Well, you're not going to try that unless you're very comfortable with it. And Soriano not known to hold the runners very well. And we know behind the plate, Herrera does not throw people out, so they took their shot. Herrera whiffed on the pitch. Jimenez dead set on getting to second base, wasn't looking. He's in scoring position now.
Sorry, Joe. It's 2-0 on Urias. Now 3-0. Guerrero is next. It's been a tough day at the plate. 3 strikeouts for Guerrero. Will he get an opportunity here this inning? Line drive down the left field line. A fair ball. And Urias has done it again as he ties the game at 1. He's had quite the weekend.
Luis Urias coming up big. We were talking about an extra base hit with Jimenez on first, but this one scores him easily from second base, and the stage is set once again. And here we are with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. coming up in a huge spot with a chance to go ahead here late against the Cardinals bullpen.
Brand new ball game here, bottom 8. Down and away, not close, ball 1. The 1-0. Catches the outside edge, 1-1. Urias out at second, representing the go-ahead run. Hit out to short, Wins got it, and that's the inning. But the Blue Jays have tied it. Luis Urias has driven in at least a run in all 3 games here in this series on a 3-0 pitch. Lines it into the left field corner, and it's 1-1 at the end of 8.
What you doing, Dad?
For part 4 of the Blue Jays way, as the Blue Jays try to repeat as World Series champions in 1993. Wemco and company today after the ball game. How about Luis Urias? A very good weekend. He is driven in the first run of the day for the Blue Jays that ties it at 1. And here's Louis Varland.
Louis Varland earned his 24th save of the season on the Friday night opener of this series with a scoreless inning, and he is going to try to keep this thing even and give his offense a chance to win it.
He'll face the 5, 6, 7 hitters in the Cardinals lineup, beginning with Mason Wynn as Nathan Lucas remains in the game in right field. Wynn is 0 for 3. most hitters on both teams are 0 for 3 today. There has not been a whole lot of offense. 1 run, 5 hits for the Cardinals. 1 run, 4 hits for the Blue Jays. The Cardinals have left 6. The Blue Jays have left 4. He held up 2-1.
Well, Wynn certainly looks like a right-handed hitter that's flying open and leaking. I think Louis would stay away, but with his stuff, it doesn't really matter.
Drills it in 2-2. Trying to get him to chase the curve, but it's down and away, ball 3. Has been a sensational year for Louis Varland. An ERA under 1. Low, ball 4, and the leadoff man is aboard. Now Brian Torres 0 for 3. Ball 1. Clement even with a bag at third. Middle infielders at double play depth. And there's a strike, 1-1.
Sometimes a little breaking ball will help you get that release point back out front where you want to be.
Just clipped the outside corner. Blue Jays with 1 challenge remaining, 1 ABS challenge. The Cardinals have both of theirs. Cardinals haven't challenged anything today. Now the 1-1. Little outside, ball 2. Wynn's got 8 steals on the season. Not going. And it's fouled off 2-2.
Such a good spot for that changeup. It's been such a good pitch for Louis this season. Just to against those left-handed batters gives them one more weapon to worry about.
Has the sign from Kirk. 2-2. Fouled back. A couple of righties up in the Cardinals pen. Gordon Graceffo and Riley O'Brien. O'Brien is their closer. An all-star this year. Runner goes. Pitch is grounded to the right side and into right field, a base hit. And Wynn will come around to third.
Ground ball had eyes on the right side with the runner going. He easily cruises into third, and now the Blue Jays have themselves in a situation.
Infield has come in for the Blue Jays. First and third, nobody out in this tie game. And the batter is Jose Fermin. And it's low, ball 1. Outside, and Varland behind again. 2-0 on Fermin. into center. That's a base hit. And Wynn is going to come in to score, and the Cardinals have taken the lead.
Louis fell behind 2-0, and Fermin got a fastball right in the middle at the bottom of the zone and lines it hard into center. Like that sinker from Louis. Squared him up.
And Pete Walker is jogging out to the mound. So walk, single, single to begin the top of the ninth. And the Cardinals quickly regain the lead.
You wonder maybe now if they're not thinking about dropping a bunt down to try to move some runners. Get a couple of guys in scoring position.
Mason Fluharty up quickly. And you can see Graham Johnson, the bullpen coach. He is putting the pitch comm in Fluharty's hat to help speed up the process. They mean business getting Fluharty ready quickly down there. The batter is Nathan Church, the center fielder, 1 for 2 with a walk. Corner infielders are in. He squares, pops it up. Oh, and what a play by Kirk. A headlong dive by Alejandro Kirk to make the catch.
It was going to be either Kirk or Ernie Clement coming in from third. It didn't look like Ernie was going to get there, and Kirk extended as far as he could to corral this baseball. What a play. Big out. Big play by Kirky.
Outstanding. One down. Here's Blaze Jordan. Right on the corner, says Jordan Baker. It's 0-1. And a fastball gets a lot of the plate. 0-2. Elevated the fastball. Jordan fouls it off. Looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth, it's going to be Kazuma Okamoto, George Springer, and Alejandro Kirk. And it looks like just Riley O'Brien is up now that they've taken the lead. Just the one reliever, their closer, up in the bullpen. Ahead 1-2, and it's chopped foul. Pitch counts climbing on Varland right now. Another reason why Fluharty is up. Left-handed hitter was on deck in Nootbaar. Another 1-2. Grounded to first. Okamoto to Jimenez for one. Back to Varland covering, but not in time. Fielder's choice, first and third, 2 down.
This is a tricky play for a pitcher getting over there, catching a throw on the run. Okamoto gives Jimenez a nice feed. Andres gives Louis a good feed, but he's not really at the bag, and he can't really find the bag. Big thing to be heads up for is that runner coming around third.
So now Varland is going to face Nootbaar. First and third, 2 down. Jimenez and Kirk are on the mound. Nootbaar 1 for 4, doubled in a run back in the third. Varland trying to keep this at just a 1-run deficit. Torres is at third. Jordan is at first. Varland on the mound, and Nootbaar stepping in for the Cardinals.
Louis checking to see if the pitch comm is working. Andres Jimenez pitch comm's not working now. Urias is chiming in.
Kirk may be testing it. He's out in front of the plate.
And what he'll do is come out. He's going to give a sign with that for the defense of the attempted double steal if it were to happen. So the middle infielders need to know what's going on. Is he throwing the ball down? Is he not? You don't want to vacate your position if there's no throw.
And Jimenez is still messing with his. I don't think he can hear. I don't think the middle infielders know what pitch is coming.
And the pitch is important so they can adjust defensively, but especially if that guy runs. If you're not throwing it down to second, you don't want to leave your position.
Varland behind 2-0. Uncharacteristic of Lou. I think that's the third hitter he's been behind 2-0 on. Swung on and missed. 2-1. It started with a walk. Both innings where the Cardinals have scored, the inning began with a walk today. Swung on and missed again. 2-2.
Pretty clear what the game plan is. Went back-to-back changeups to start, then went to the curveball, now back to the changeup. Staying away from the fastball unless he tries to maybe elevate something here up and out of the zone.
Changeup away, and it's a full count, which will give Jordan a running start from first. At the moment, Okamoto was still holding it, but now he will come off the back. Left-handed batter. He is seeking instruction from the dugout, and now Okamoto's off the bag and playing behind the runner. Big pitch. First and third, 2 down, and the 3-2. Hit sharply to second, but Urias has it. Oh, and throws it by Okamoto. And a run comes in to score. The inning should have been over. The side should have been retired, but the Cardinals get another run.
A hard shot right to Urias, makes the play, shuffles his feet, does everything right, but you can see the throw. He just yanked it to his left.
And the error adds another run and extends the inning, and it brings up Walker. What a costly time for an error.
Well, you get out of this thing down 1, you give yourself a chance, but he did everything right. Everything looked great until he actually threw the baseball.
Walker challenging.
St. Louis is challenging.
Cardinals have 2. And he's correct.
Call's overturned. St. Louis has 3 remaining.
So it's 1-1 on Jordan Walker. And a base hit is going to give the Cardinals 2 more runs. So instead of being 2-1 going to the bottom of the 9th, it is now 5-1. And is that going to be all for Louis Varland? A lefty coming up. Varland's thrown a lot of pitches, and that's it. A 4-run top of the 9th inning here for the visitors. 3 of the 4 unearned. And frustration all around.
Yeah, tough day for Louis. A tough start with the walk to lead everything off, but not a lot of help behind him.
inning here, 3 hits and a walk and the error on Urias. 4 runs in for the Cardinals right after the Blue Jays had tied it at 1. And nobody feels worse, obviously, than Urias. Jimenez trying to keep his spirits up, but costly.
That's what you do. You try to pick up your teammate. Urias has had some highlights this past weekend, and you love that as a player that was playing sparingly, gets an opportunity, has had some big hits for this team this weekend, and he just wanted to seal that off to give his team a chance in the bottom of the 9th.
Mason Fluharty is in with Jordan Walker at first, 2 down. A lefty-lefty matchup with Alec Burleson, who is 1 for 3 with an intentional walk. Fluharty pitching for the 2nd time in as many days, when a 1/3 of an inning in yesterday's game gave up a walk and then got a ground out. He walked Burleson and then got Herrera to ground out. Out in front, 0-2. Walker's running, and it's bounced foul. Blue Jays will get it going again in Houston tomorrow night. They start a 7-game road trip, 3 in Houston, then a makeup game Thursday at Wrigley Field after the rain out earlier this season, and then 3 in Philadelphia. Popped up left field. Springer circling underneath it, and he makes the catch for out number 3. To the bottom of the 9th. In Houston tomorrow night. There will certainly be a lot to talk about in the aftermath of the trade deadline. The broadcast begins at 7:30 Eastern with Blue Jay Central. First pitch shortly after 8 Eastern. The next 3 weeks challenging. 3 at Houston, the makeup game at Wrigley, 3 at Philly, although the Phillies struggling right now, still obviously a playoff contender. And then how about a whole lot of the American League East? The Red Sox and Yankees here, and then a road trip to the Trop in the Bronx.
That is an upcoming schedule. We've talked so much about the Red Sox lately. Yankees certainly going through their struggles, but the Rays are the Rays. They will have to be up to the task over the next couple of weeks.
The last 5 weeks of the schedule, if things are still meaningful in terms of the standings by then, it's a softer schedule. But the next 3 weeks are very, very challenging. And again, who knows what things will look like. By then, the Blue Jays opening up play 3.5 out of the last wild card spot today. But every loss so critical right now. Riley O'Brien, the closer for the Cardinals, is on. Kazuma Okamoto is going to lead it off. This one's going to find a home in shallow center. That's a base hit. And it gets past Church. So it'll be a single and an error, allowing Okamoto to go to second.
First pitch breaking ball, and Okamoto is on it just toward the end of his bat, drops it into shallow center field, but the center fielder's coming in and just kind of goes after it casually. Comes up empty.
Boy, and in a 4-run game, that may not be meaningful at all, but imagine if Urias makes the play and it's 2-1 and that happened, and maybe he wouldn't have been as casual if it was 2-1, but here's Springer.
1-run game changes everything though, right? Because the tying run is always at the plate.
Springer 1 for 3, tripled his last time up with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th, but was stranded. O'Brien out in front, 0-2. Those around the Cardinals think this could be Riley O'Brien's last day with them. Took him a while, kind of a late bloomer, but again, a closer, an all-star.
See that
this year.
sinker running in there, and Springer. He's 97, 98. Then he's got the sweeper going the other way. 26 saves on the season. This is not a save situation.
Herrera wants to challenge. Ooh, just off the corner. 0.2 of an inch. One, two, up and away. Away again, and it's full. Kirk next. 3-2. Fly ball to center, but it's playable for Church. Out number one. Now Kirk 1 for 3. Blue Jays came in looking for just their third sweep of the season. And they're obviously up against that now. They've also beaten the Cardinals 8 games in a row going back to 2024. They're down to their final 2 outs. The 1-0. That'll catch the outside corner. 1-1. No, not to be forgotten today, Max Scherzer had a very good outing. 6 innings, a run on 4 hits, 84 pitches, struck out 5, only walked 1.
Best we've seen in a while from Max. Really executing pitches today. Well, it's a big breaking ball when he's got that sinker at 97 and 98. See Alejandro just not quite staying on enough, pulling away as that ball's going the other way.
O'Brien ahead 1-2. And this is out of play. No appeal. He didn't. 2-2. Okamoto at it, second, 1 down. And the 2-2 pitch. A bouncer foul up the third baseline. Long faces after that top of the 9th. The 2-2 again. Strike 3 called. Kirk will use the Blue Jays' 1 remaining challenge. Unsuccessfully.
Confirmed. Toronto has no challenges remaining.
So that's out number 2, and the Blue Jays now out of ABS challenges and down to their final out here in the bottom of the 9th. The batter is Ernie Clement, who is 0 for 3. a strike on the outside corner. And again. And again, remember, the Blue Jays don't have challenges, and that was a borderline pitch, but either way, nothing Clement can do about it. The 0-2. A roller up the middle. Wins got it and fires it on to first, and that ends the ball game. The Blue Jays cannot sweep, cannot extend the winning streak. The Cardinals get 4 in the top of the 9th inning, and they beat the Blue Jays 5-1.
Tough way to lose it after coming back and tying it late in the 8th inning. And this team, we don't know what is about to happen within the next 24 hours. Who will be here, who will not. But they're in a position now where they need to sweep series, and they were unable to do that here against the Cardinals.
They take 2 out of 3. They're off to Houston to begin a 7-game road trip tomorrow night. You can see that game beginning with the pregame show, 7:30 Eastern on Sportsnet. Again, the final score: the Cardinals 5 and the Blue Jays 1. And time now for Blue Jays Central with Jamie and Madison.
All right, Dan and Joe, thank you so much. A reminder that episode number 4 of the Blue Jays Way, Whamco, is coming away moments from now. We'll present that here on Sportsnet. First of all, the Blue Jays were hoping to sweep this series and make things interesting as the deadline comes tomorrow night at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, and they had an opportunity to do so after tying this ball game and then bringing in one of the best relief pitchers in baseball. Funny how baseball doesn't always work out.
Yeah, it's interesting with just the way that the game goes, how quickly everything can change, because what it looked like the Blue Jays were going to come away with the sweep, especially after tying up the ball game late, all of a sudden things changed very drastically. But let's take you back to the bottom of the 8th inning. Luis Arias has been swinging the bat extremely well, and Jamie loved the green light on the 3-0 count here, hits this double down the left field line and scores Andres Jimenez easily to tie up the ball game. Now going into the top of the 9th inning with Louis Barlin coming in out of the bullpen, you figure that it's almost a sure thing that he's going to keep the score where it is. And after a leadoff walk, he unfortunately gives up a couple of hits here and there. St. Louis is able to take the lead, but then it looks like they're able to get out of the inning. A ground ball over to Luis Arias, and instead of being an out over at first base, it ends up being an error that ends up being a costly one. 4 runs scored in that inning, 3 of those runs unearned because of that error over at second base. Sometimes it's the ground balls that you have the most time on when you go to make that throw over to first base that ultimately you end up making the error on. But to me, it was almost a very quick reminder of why this team is where they are here at the trade deadline, because of games like this, because of games where it looks like they have everything wrapped up and all of a sudden things start to unravel, whether it's not getting the timely hitting that you need or making some of those defensive mistakes or even missed execution on the mound. It's just a combination of those things, again, where we felt like this team was trending in a different direction recently. They take a couple of steps forward, and then all of a sudden you have a game like this, especially with the timing, with the trade deadline looming tomorrow, that this one feels like it hurts just a little bit more.
Regressing back to that team that we knew so well for the last several months, one that just couldn't score. They score one time in this ball game and are handcuffed by the left-hander Matthew Liberatore. So they win the series, but they don't sweep the series. And during the game, it was announced that they had acquired Jameson Taillon from the Cubs. He had been DFA'd by the organization, so he'll come over to the Blue Jays, which usually suggests someone's going to have to go before now and tomorrow night at the deadline. So we'll see how that all plays out over the next 24 hours or so. Sportsnet will have extensive coverage on any developments that impact this team. And we'll have tomorrow night's game from Houston, beginning with Blue Jays Central at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. The National Bank Open is now underway in both Toronto and Montreal. The women's session in Toronto on Sportsnet 360. The men's session on Sportsnet 1. Evening affairs both go tonight as this tournament begins, and we'll have coverage for you upcoming now and tonight on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 1. So the Blue Jays are handcuffed by a pretty good pitching staff as the Cardinals win one and avoid getting swept. It's off to Houston for the Blue Jays on deadline day. Hope you'll join us then. For everybody here at Sportsnet, I'm Jamie Campbell. Thanks for watching. It's time for the Blue Jays Way, presented by Skip.